All right, so we're going to go on a little bit. The next thing we're going to discuss is this is a bottle of oxygen. When people are in distress, when they've had a bad accident, or when they have a cardiac arrest or anything like that, instead of pushing on their heart and what have you, if you can, police officers and so on should have a bottle of oxygen. This is just a valve that screws into the top. This is a acetylene torch that operates on these little canisters. But anyway, it's just a little hole. You turn the valve on it, and then you stick the hose in their mouth, and they get pure oxygen. This is industrial grade, which is actually a little bit better grade than medical grade. So, it reduces the amount of work that your body has to do to survive. So, in other words, if you can put oxygen into the system, you can save their life or make it a much, much smaller event than it would be otherwise. That's what the emergency room does, and so on. They put oxygen in your lungs so you don't have to work as hard. It's a very good idea, much better than the defibrillator, which can do a lot of damage if you are doing it wrong, and other things. So that's something that you should use. It's just one of those things. So I'm going to try one more time. This is an invention. This is a device that is designed for self-protection, an intent to make the women who are vulnerable more able to defend themselves, and it can be used for children and so on. But the end result is that being able to defend yourself is not having a weapon available to you, because any weapon that you have can be used against you. That's just how it is. There's no point in trying to pretend it isn't so. Every weapon that you have can be used against you, and that includes a gun, which you're trying to get out when someone is a surprise attack on you. You're not going to be able to do it, no matter what you think. If you want to be a big kung fu hero kind of thing and going to kill him, like I've been told by other women, I'll kill him. Well, it ain't so. That's just not going to happen for most. Maybe a very, very tiny little few, but the end result is that we can look to nature and find in nature a little critter that is able to defend itself from large predators trying to eat it. And that would be a skunk, because a skunk emits a chemical that causes discomfort and smell and problems with smell and so on, and the predator turns away and the little skunk runs away. It's the only defense he's got, or she's got. So there's a lesson in that, and the lesson is what we want to do is deter someone from attacking us or attacking you. And that's done with chemicals, and the chemicals can be, it makes you retch, vomits, it makes you sneeze, it makes you do whatever it is that you find uncomfortable to do, so that your mind is no longer on sex or bodies or anything else. There's a few people that don't smell, and of course that can be a little bit exempt. There's chemicals now that can mitigate some things, but the end result is, if you are able to mark them, if you are able to tag them, if you are able to put an identifying mark on them, whoever might be attacking you, then you have the option to get away. You have the option to call for help, because this smell, whatever it is, it could be cinnamon rolls baking. It doesn't matter what the smell is, so long as you understand that this smell is associated with this cause and effect. And so therefore you can call for help just by a smell. I live in the country, as you can see, and when skunks were here, they're extinct here apparently now, because I haven't seen one for 20 years. But when they were here, I could smell a skunk that produced a stink for whatever reason a mile away if the wind was blowing anywhere in the vicinity. A mile away. And I knew what it was because it's a skunk, and I understood that smell. So, in the end result, if you release a smell that is recognizable, and if somebody puts you in a car, that smell is going to invade his car, and it's going to invade the area around his car, and the people who drive past the car are going to smell something is wrong here in this car. And that is, of course, a very big deterrent. Can't have the smell in the car because that convicts me of what I'm doing wrong. So there are good reasons for wanting to deter someone from doing a violent act against you, such as the skunk proves is true. So, I know you don't think you need that kind of protection, but it's a pretty heartless world today. People are in charge who have no clue. War is their answer. War is the answer of men, so women have no clue in so many ways, too many ways. But that doesn't matter. What matters is at this point in time is what can we do to mitigate or cause someone to deter from what they had in mind. And the answer to that is a chemical release device. Can be whatever you want. This is a gift. Go ahead and make an invention, whatever you want. I would caution you that the patent office is a organized crime syndicate, and if they find or they smell a little bit of money in it, they'll steal it. So anyway, this is we have chemicals in here, and if you pull on it, then the chemicals come out. And this is ketchup in here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it pulls out ketchup, and you can smell it. So one of these things would be enough. You can have whatever it is that you like. Fashion dictates it has to be a certain kind or whatever. One of the things that I like is a belt. You can put your scent releasing device on a belt and work with it that way. Or you can put a you can have a necklace, or you can have a here's a bracelet, or you can have something around your ankle that you can pick or pull or whatever. You can have something that's fitted into your bra or your panties or something like that. You can have this, attached here, and if they pull them off or whatever it is that rapists do, it'll release on its own. Same is true for bra. You stick it inside. You find a way to make it fit comfortably. There are, that's your business. You're the people that use it. I'm not. And there's, of course, let's see. There's, of course, springs, or well, I had a little device for a ring. So you put on a ring, and then you can push it against yourself if you have that, or you hit them, or whatever it is you can find, and open it and release the smell. It is whatever you have right now that matters when you're being attacked. You can't think about, well, if I only had this, or if I only had that, or go away, I need time. None of that. It is what you have right now. And if you have a ring that you can open and release a smell that everybody understands, this one is in trouble, call 911 or whatever it is you're going to do. So and be a little careful, because if criminals know this will bring you, they also know that they can trap you. So there are issues to be dealt with, but not so much as we can go ahead and do that. So this is just we'll put chemicals along the inside here at the bottom, and maybe you can find a way to do that. And I like the idea of two chemicals. This one is, mustard, and this one is, I forgot to put that in. This one is, well, you can see ketchup in there. Anyway, two chemicals, so when they mix together, then they produce a stink. Or you can have a, I forgot to bring the ketchup and the mustard, but you can have one chemical on one side and one chemical on the other side, and then pull out a piece of paper that combines them together. It's a mixing chamber that will do that. There's any number of ways to go ahead and create a mixing chamber or a chemical release that you can do. You can also put a, if you got a bikini on or whatever, you can put a belt around you, and with that pull of a cord, you can have it spin and throw things out. Throw chemicals out to anybody that's in the immediate vicinity. Or you can put a little pressurized canister inside the little tube here, and when you open the valve, it pushes or it sprays the chemical all over. So that would help you too. But the end result is, and I don't know why you can't understand it, because I've been doing this for 50 years or whatever, and you still don't understand. I don't know why. Self-defense is not a game. It's not it's none of that. It's none of that. It's a decision to do what you can do in reality. Not a game. To do what you can do in reality. And in reality, we can make a deterrent out of things that are known to be deterrents. That's what we can do. We can make a deterrent out of things that we know we can do. And we can educate the people that this smell associates with this particular purpose. And, even children can use this smell to indicate there's a problem here. Help me. That kind of thing. So, this is my final time. Not going to do it again. You can find some old inventions, some old methods of releasing chemicals and stuff on my website, which is jamesfosterbeer.com, but it's down right now. And the hoster he lost his server, and I don't know, it's a problem. And it's on Just Talking 7, which is in the videos and what have you. But anyway, you have to look for it. It's somewhere. It's somewhere. So there you go. Use it. Create your own invention. Sell it, manufacture it, whatever it is. I don't care. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. I'm here trying to help you. And all I've ever gotten from you, from the women that I have said, you can defend yourself with this, they all just attacked me. Scared to death. For whatever reason, I don't know. But when you say you can defend yourself, somehow or another, that's an attack. I don't know how, but somehow or another it is. So if you find a value in the concept here that we can use chemicals to deter violent acts against someone, go with it. Find a way to talk to people, because women just run the other way, and men don't care. So I'm done. This is it. You find a way to make something of value out of it. End of the story. All right, so I'm going to teach you how to clean a well. This is a well that was contaminated for a couple years before I got to it, and it's biologically important to you that you don't have contaminated water. That's why states require you to bring in a sample of your drinking water so that they can test it to see whether or not it's actually okay. But after people try and fail, they then find some water source that they take in, and then they drink the water. So or they don't use the water, or they cook with the water but nothing else. Anyway, the proper method of dealing with a well that's contaminated, biologically contaminated, is to go ahead and use Clorox on it, or one of those agents. Clorox is what I used on this one. It's been 4 or 5 years since it's had a treatment, and it's just fine. So, the first couple of times I poured 2 or 3 gallons of Clorox down the well, just poured it down, and nothing happened. Didn't help at all. Did not help at all. So this time, what we're doing is we have a garden wand here that's in the well, and it's just running full flow. And so that's the water that's going to go down the pipe into the bottom of the well. So we stuck that in there and let the water flow. And we put it on. I got it hooked up to the faucet close to the well, and it just going to recycle the water. What water pumps out is pushed back in. So that makes a difference. So we're going to put the wand down here in here, and then we're going to take a bottle or a gallon of kerosene, or Clorox. Don't use kerosene. Clorox, or one of those things. So, bleach. So what it requires is you got to drill a small hole. This is about the size of a toothpick in the cap, and you put the cap back on, and then you set the gallon into the hole like that, so that you can actually recycle it. With a hole the size of a toothpick, it takes about an hour for a gallon to empty out. I actually put in 2 gallons. But the end result is that you're putting the Clorox in, the sprinkler head is pushing the Clorox out to the pipe, and it goes all the way down. And then you recycle it, so you keep on doing it for an hour or so. Put another 2nd gallon in if you want. And then I went ahead and emptied or opened the faucet, flushed a couple of toilets in the house for just a little bit when I was done, to circulate it in there, and then went ahead and ran the water out for 10 minutes or more to flush the system out of Clorox. And it worked very well. So what you need to do is get you a sprinkler head. So again, this is about bacteria in the water supply. It's a bad thing. You got to get rid of it. This is a fairly new well some years back, and it had bacteria in it, and which made the water undrinkable. Even the pets did not want to drink it. It just plain couldn't use it really. And they told me to throw in a gallon of Clorox or 2, and I threw in several, and it didn't help. So I had to find a different solution for that. And the solution is that you look in the well, and what you want to do is create a spray for the pipe, and then it's hooked to the faucet, outside faucet here on the well. So we're recirculating the water. So we're recirculating that. You can see it, I don't know. Anyway, you let the water go. and the pump will keep going back and forth. This is the size, there's a little hole in there, the size of a toothpick or so. And you put that on a gallon of Clorox, and then you put a gallon of Clorox in like that with the water going. With a little bitty hole in top here so that it pours out over an hour or so, and that literally, you put 2 gallons in at the same, so I had it going for a couple hours. But anyway, the water has been good ever since. So you can clean up your pipe. The problem is in the pipe. So you clean up the pipe before you put it in the ground as well, if you can. But otherwise, you have to do it this way. You have to recirculate the water. And I open the faucets in the house for a little bit, and the toilets and what have you to flush those out a little bit. But the end result is that you want to circulate it. You want to keep it going back and forth and back and forth. So that whatever, so that you can clean it. It's important to clean it. And that, of course, goes for wells in Africa and what have you. They can be contaminated with bacteria, and even if you got water, you don't have good water. So that's a big thing. So we want to talk about the miscellaneous things that are a problem for us as a world, such as 9 billion people, our rough population. 1% of that is 90 million people growth per year, and you divide that by 365 and you end up with 1 million more mouths to feed every 4 days. Count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, another million people to feed. You're not going to survive it. You're not going to survive genetic chaos in nature. The plan of geneticists is to make nature destroy itself so that they can then figure out how to rebuild it. Or the plan is that, like a bridge, they make a bridge collapse so they know where the weak points is so they can restructure it. But life and genetics are not a simple one-by-one solution or step-by-step process. It's an orchestra all playing at the same time. And they don't know that. And then we come to, let's ignite atoms on fire just like the sun. And that's what 90 plus machines are doing right now. They're trying to ignite atoms on fire because we know it's a nuclear fire on the sun, because we know there is nothing else that can produce the fire that heats our planet. And it's the fire that produces the gravity. And you say, well, how will they control the fire if they ignite it? And their answer is, well, there's not enough gravity here so it will just extinguish itself. A 1,000,000-mile plane. Lawrence Livermore Laboratories came close in San Francisco to igniting that fire a couple years ago, and now they're replacing the lasers because 180 million degrees at 500,000 psi was not enough to ignite their fire. So they're putting in bigger lasers. For the singular purpose, it doesn't matter how they lie to you, for the singular purpose of proving they can ignite the same fire that's on the sun. No complaint how to control it at all. And it can't be controlled because everything is an atom. Rocks are an atom. The ocean is an atom. You are made of atoms. Once you ignite that fire, just like the sun, it becomes a self-sustaining fire. And so if we have to stop them before they ignite the fire, which I've been saying for a long time, and you just refuse to believe it because, your former classmates with a university diploma say, we don't have to care. Well, you're going to die in a fire that you can't control if you don't stop them. Nature will be destroyed, Armageddon, which means nature and chaos. Or if you don't stop overpopulation, you'll be fighting and warring for water because, you know, once you run out of water, am I going to give you mine? No. Going to war for water. You got 3 days to find some water. At most. Terrible war. And then, of course, there's all the other things. All of the other things that you do. Either you have to grow up and accept the idea that truth must decide for us now. Truth must decide for us now, or we die. In other words, what you can do and what you can't do is a very, very fine line. Or such things as, you know, every plane ride that you take. Every plane ride you take, let's just give them an average of 1,000 miles, 10 million plane rides across the world a year, and every plane ride releases about 1 billion BTUs of heat. But even worse than that, every plane ride that you take consumes the ozone in our atmosphere. And once the ozone is gone, the radiation from the sun will cause the plants to die and create all kinds of problems for living creatures. In other words, we can't survive without it. And yet, you have a plane ride going to nowhere for no purpose whatsoever other than to, you know, declare I'm a winner. And the ozone, you know, leaves the planet, and with that we do too. Or the atmosphere can detach. There's no reason that the atmosphere has to revolve with the planet. It can detach. So many trees cut down, so many trees burned on purpose and otherwise. They are what hold the atmosphere to the planet. And of course, you can have as many fires as you want, can't you? Can't you have as many fires as you want? 9 billion people having every fire every day for the 100 years of their life, they hope. Well, oxygen is decreasing in the upper atmosphere too. Ocean life is being destroyed. You're eating the seed for next year. And once you eat the seed for next year, there is no crop next year. There is no crop. There's nothing to plant. And if you eat it below the return, below what you have to have, humanity will eat what is left, and then there will be nothing left. And you will find hell on earth. As everybody says, all that's left to eat is us. And they begin eating each other. So make a decision, you know. Make a decision for life, or you're going to die. All right, well, what we have here is a plastic soap container, and it's filled with dirt. And so the intent of that is that we're going to create a building block. This is just one building block. We can create a lot of building blocks for the price of dirt. You know, unfortunately, that's an issue of its own. But nonetheless, it's fairly well insulated. It'll hold the dirt together, or whatever you use, rock, whatever you use to fill it, and it'll stay in place reasonably well. So you build a line of these, put a piece of plastic or something over the top of that, and build another line of them and create a house for those who can't afford anything else. So it's one method of increasing the structures that are available to people. I'm not saying it's the best one. I'm saying it's one method of creating a structure for other people to live in. We have for other society is again this model for a homeless shelter. It's 4x8. In other words, this is as standardized as it gets. Has a locking door. It cost me $444 to build it and about 12 hours of labor. But that was the first time. So we have a table. We have shelves. That's a lay-down bed. And of course, then you got a heater and some plug-ins and what have you. You know, it just simply plug it in with a cord out here, and the cord runs over the top, and there really actually meant to be assembled in 5 or 10 units so that it'll fit on a semi-truck flatbed. And then you can put, insulation between them for noise and heat value. You can raise the roof up with screening for some air conditioning, sort of ventilation at least. And you can put that top down for heat in the wintertime. You can put a window in it. But the end result is that you can house a lot of people for a fairly cheap amount in preferably a solar plant yard. So they put the solar panels on top of these shelters, and then it becomes a situation where the housing is not actually taking up any extra space. So you can have people in it for basically for free, and you can enforce that. So, that's part of the deal. Do what you want with it. So the best method of using plastic jugs and filling them with some kind of mass is to put uprights up every 4 feet or so, and then stack the materials in between it. You can drive the posts in to keep it in place, and then the reused jugs become part of the wall. And don't forget, plastic is not UV protected, and so you got to put a cover on the outside. And it would be best if all manufacturers used bottles, doesn't matter about the color, that can be particularly used for this kind of purpose. 9 billion people on Earth today. Using a jug a week is an awful lot of jugs. Think about it. If you don't do anything else with them, you could at least do that. Well, I would remind you that although this isn't, an ideal little house, it is a locked door. It is a place to put your stuff. It is a safe place for nighttime or whenever you're sick. It has a little heat, has a little ventilating for too hot, and it is, basically some place to be, even an address it could be, so that you can, begin your life again. Or, if this is it, then at least it's some place that is, yours. I'll add one little thing to this, and that is that my websites have been down for 4 or 5 days now. Being able to get the domain names back has proven to be far more difficult than it should be. I own them, I paid for them, they are mine, yet someone else has control, and it is becoming a problem to get them back. The server and the guy that was doing it tried, and he hasn't got it back. So, things ought to be changed. And that would take legislation to change the way things are done. After all, the university does it. The university is in charge of everything. And as always, the university fails. So the fact is that I'm having trouble with domain names and having an internet policy or websites. And for that reason, we're going to show you what the websites look like and hope that you can return them to me so that they can be viewed by you. Because they are a step-by-step method of creating a new world for you, and it's not an attack, it's just a presentation of these are options that you can use. So we're going to go ahead and look at a preview of what it is that the websites create for you. Now, hopefully, there. Alright, so I'm going to read them for you, and you just go ahead and and read for yourself as well. So this is what the websites are about, and the first or primary issue here is organize and create in this America, this USA, a constitutional First Amendment redress of grievances. That's a right of trial. That means we the people decide now. Our legal right as a democracy is then governed by law enforced upon our employees. Because no matter who you are, unless we convince the masses, the majority of people, what is or is not true in a courtroom so they can believe it is the best that we can do, they will remain believers of I want what I want rather than whatever is actually true. Religion is based upon believers, and all believers want what they want. That's what they believe. I want what I want. That's life. But it's not true. Until the end of life on earth proves how wrong they are, because their universities are making all kinds of inroads into the reality of what our earth is and what our nature is, what our everything is, and they are wrong, because when they're trying to change nature, trying to change energy, trying to change everything is what people do, and people are not God. So stop them. Speak up. Stand up. Show them you care about this world, that you care about life. Show them you care about our nation. We the people own our own law. It's not theirs, it's ours. It's our democracy, our law. They have to obey. Our leaders must obey. Not play God, not play king, not play, let's war against the world. Let's be true to ourselves. Our law. Not your law, our contract, not your government, our government. Or more distinctly, neither the judiciary, the president, or any member of government has, we the people, control over our Constitution. It is our contract with them, with those we employ to do the business of our governing, not rule over us, but to obey the laws that we created in our contract with ourselves. It's not about them, it's about us, as is sanctified by their oath to us all. In other words, they swear to us that they will obey the Constitution in its intent and its desire and not go beyond it. And of course they really, 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 really do. And that's a crime. That's treason or. Anyway, the reality is, don't believe like religion does. Think for yourself and examine the cost of being wrong, because there is no going back in what the universities do. They gamble with life, genetic nature, the future of the entire world. That's what the universities are doing, playing God. The reality of $1 trillion, is $10,000 for each and every one of 100 million people. That is the math. And the reality does not compute. None of that, what they present to you is true. It is your debt. It is your money. We have a say. We have a right. The reality is that Lawrence Livermore Laboratories in San Francisco, which costs $1 trillion or so, and was actually named INF, or National Ignition Facility, because they want to ignite atoms on fire just like the sun. They want to ignite atoms on fire just like the sun, and are replacing their 192 lasers with even bigger ones, because 180 million degrees is what they stated that they could produce at 500,000 psi, was not enough to ignite sunfire, but almost. So they're putting in bigger ones to get sunfire. And if we don't stop them, they may well actually ignite a fire just like the sun here on Earth. A 1,000,000-mile long fire. And they claim we don't have to worry about controlling it, it'll just extinguish itself. A 1,000,000-mile long flame of fire, and it's just extinguish itself on a planet made out of fuel, where everything that is atoms burns. It's fuel. And they need to be stopped. Or more distinctly, truth decides what will or will not happen. A diploma does not. And they claim an atomic explosion is the same as an atomic fire. It is not. It just none of the math or any of the rest of that shit that they spew is the same as a fire. And they have no experience with that. There's no laboratory that allows them to test that. There's none of it. The price of being wrong is our world dies. Just like the sun. How is that not true? Same fires on the sun, same result. How is that not true? Leaders make these things easy, good or bad. Those who have no answers turn to war because they distract the people from themselves by turning to war and making somebody else the problem. Or they let universities decide, as is today, discarding government to play king, a reality led by fantasy and delusion. The university claims that they can control the same fires on the sun, claims that they can control genetic nature, claims everything. There is nothing that the universe do not claim they can control. They want to play God, and they are not God. They're stupid. But law decides for life and the fate or destiny of us all, which demands we enforce it by our own democracy. It's our right to legally contest anything they do and enforce, no, you can't. Is it not worth your life to decide that? We know the sun is a nuclear fire because the burning, the bond of atoms, is because we know of nothing else it can be. Reality proves the truth. We know there's energy enough in an atomic fire to power the sun, to heat our earth and control the universe itself in this solar system. We know it can be brought here because it is an atomic nuclear fire. And of course, this planet is made out of atoms, nuclear. Even the ocean is fuel. So if they ignite a fire at Lawrence Livermore Laboratories, which is exactly what they plan to do, San Francisco lasts about 5 minutes before it's completely disappeared. That's what a 1 million mile long flame does. And all the thermodynamics that go with it, which is to suck everything in. Alright, well anyway, it's your choice to let them do it or to say no, because the consequences are too severe, you can't do it. But their fantasy and delusions are not valued anymore. The liars will fail us all. And of course the stock market represents the pyramid schemes that don't work without a bribe. The stock market bribes you not to look, to be the monkeys. They no monkey see, no monkey do, as is counterfeiting our U.S. Treasury money. And, or more correctly, 50 years ago, the currency was about $1 trillion, less than $1 trillion total. Today it's over $700 trillion. They counterfeited that much money to pay the bills that they wanted to pay because they gave it all to themselves. Not to you. They didn't build anything for you. They didn't build anything for the future. They paid, the university paid themselves to build whatever imagination they wanted. $1 trillion is equal to $10,000 for each and every one of 100 million workers. So $32 trillion, their claimed GDP for U.S. at this point in time, is $320,000 for each and every one of 100 million workers. Alas, there's nothing so blind and deaf and dumb as people who do not understand that life, your body, your life on this planet is a miracle, not an evolution of stupidity and insanity and led by the fools. And yet, these are the people who brought you evolution. Same people who brought you evolution that you say they can claim they know everything about a sun. And they gamble all life on Earth. All life on Earth to prove they can play God. If fusion exists, as is their claim, where is the helium? They say that the sun creates helium out of combining two hydrogen atom into helium. Well, where is the helium? And even that makes hydrogen a fuel. You know, the answer is none of their claims exist. The laws do not allow it. They're pure fantasy. Lawrence Livermore Labs proved that in 2012, the first great abomination of human history, the true abomination. And they did not create fusion, but the money is good, and they lie to keep it. So they gamble with all life on earth for their own greed. So the question to you is that life or death for planet Earth, everything on life on Earth is everything. There's nothing to be left out of a planet that has been ignited into a sun. It is simply, do you believe the universities know enough to ignite a nuclear million-mile-long flame or not? Or do you believe in reality, as is, we know the burning of bonds and atoms is a real thing? Just like we burn the bond in molecules to create fire on Earth. It's basically the same, only there's 4 billion times more energy expression in atoms than in the bond of molecules. The sun and its million-mile flames is 4 billion times more than what we do here on Earth. So do you doubt they can control sunfire? They demand they prove what they claim is real. Demand they prove they can control the fire. You know, they can ignite it. They have trillion-dollar machines everywhere. At least 90 of them operating today and every day. Prove they can claim they can control this nuclear fire as is on the sun. Or in fact, you know, until proven by the evidence otherwise, you know, the actual energy expression, the fuel of the sun is atoms. They have to prove it is not. And, you know, this doesn't mean it's fusion. It just means they're burning the bond in the atoms, or separating the energy that pushes out from the energy that keeps it in, and makes time. Time is an atom. Time is the energy that is a spinning proton inside the atom that we bleed off with electrons. That's what time is. The sun, they claim the sun is made mostly of hydrogen, but all they can see beyond a million-mile-long flame is by a spectrometer. That's all they got. That is the ash cloud of that fire. Alas, it's called imagination, or like religion, the university cult demands never question the leader, just because no evidence is required. We believe. No evidence, no truth, no reality. Just believe. And that, of course, is, you know, what makes a cult. If you can't question your leader. Faith is the reality or the basis of real religion, as is let truth decide. Only truth survives. And the reality spoils the game. And pride dies. Or life on earth does. That's the cost of so I'll try again. So we are life elements on a universe scale of existence. The quest is not for time, but for eternity, as is the description of purity and truth survives and decides for us all. Desire forms our decision for love. Nothing less is welcome. Time is the cradle, but life is the foundation. Think about that for a moment. Eternity will only choose for truth. And believe it or not, there is no middle ground. There is no yes or no. You know, it is yes or no, period. You have to choose. There is no middle ground. You can't say, well, you have to choose. And yet today, the reality is I must depend upon mercy for myself, because my own living has been torn apart. It's complicated. The only answer of men, as history proves, is war. So I search for the answer of women and required to see life and even live it from the opposite view now. That is real change. But real change is required of us all, or our world is going to die. And we will all be extinct, as is no more want, let only truth decide. The universities are that serious, that horrifying, that treasonous and traitor and terrorist of us all. They cannot be God. They don't know that, but they cannot be God. They can only be Satan. Or more properly stated, living in this world filled with miracles no human had a hand in creating should provide you with respect that is only thought beyond our own can do this. You know what? As it did in past generations. Your own body proves that true. What can you do with your own body? You don't have any real control over your life or your death or your body or any of it. Your world demands truth by the evidence of reality or it will fail. Because life ain't no game. Life is a blessing being called being alive, and that means you are aware of your choices. Or as is identified below, the constant of university failures. More distinctly, you can you create a heart or an organ or bones or joints or muscles or put them together, or eyes or ears or speech or touch or skin or blood, or hang the parts inside your body and wrap them around with skin, or even plumb the body so that every cell survives, or wire the body so that the brain functions and automatically creates a human being? Not even kind of. Yet the universe say we don't need no damn brain for any of it. It's all chaos and accident, as it's called evolution by religion. And life, which they cannot truly describe, is just a game. That's what they believe. That's what hate is. Life is a game. Or fundamentally, it is a university disease impaled by absolute stupidity on you. You! Claiming genetics is just a step-by-step process that they can change one step at a time. When in fact it is an orchestra, all playing at the same time to build a body out of all kinds of things that you can't do. You can't do. Billionth of a second, stop and start and valves and changing the skin and changing the composition. You can't do any of it. To create, bind, transport, identify, separate, support, and define a living body of time. Can you lace or operate 600 muscles or thread them in your body? You can't. Can you take what you eat and build cells so your body can live? No, you can't. Can you fix broken hands, fingers, or make them? Or feet, eyes, nose, or tongue or brain or cellulose scale? Where is your brain? Where is it? Where is it? The university stole it. Get it back. So, none of that is absolutely chaos. None of it is chaos at all. It's not an accident. There's none of that represents something that just suddenly happened. It's all about thought. Wake up. You are a human, not a god, and neither are your universities. You're just plain stupid people whom we pay by the university demands for billions of them to play games, while in fact only a few contribute anything but chaos to our lives. We pay them for nothing. We pay them to be stupid. We pay them because they want to take over our lives. To support the university takeover of life, nature, energy, nation, or world, liars lie. Media propagates, cheaters cheat, corrupting life and nation, thieves rob, as this counterfeiting currency to cover their larceny, their inflation, to destroy the nation, terrorists playing God, traitors believe no consequences for us. How is that true or not true? University imagination is not a fact, it is a delusion built on fantasies instead of truth. We need to sort out what has value from the sewer of human failure they present as claimed under the cover and the blanket of university. University is God. University is not God. It's a sewer. And we need to separate what is of value and what is not. Simple as that. So functionally I'm a dissident against this United States, or more correctly against the universities that control this United States. And they've been in control for the last 50 years, and they've led us down the path of extinction. They have led us down the path of extinction, the destruction of our nation, the destruction of our work, the destruction of our money, the destruction of everything. 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 And now they want to ignite fire, a nuclear fire, on a planet made entirely out of fuel. And they are completely destroying the domain names. Several days past means that things are not going well. So I'm going to try to provide a link so that you can download my sites and use them for whatever you want to. You can't actually put them on a computer and view them that way. You have to put them on a website because that's the kind of language it is. So you have to buy a cheap website and put it on there, and put it out wherever you want to. And it's like religion. What was one thing can be altered and changed into another thing. So you have to be a little bit aware of that. And if you get back my domain names and websites, which are jamesfostiver.com, and the other ones, then you can use that for a basis of, this is what it was. But so as best you can, do what you can do legally. Do what you can do legally, because there's nothing to be gained, as is men in charge of everything, by war. You can't change anything. As history proves, it just keeps coming back because it's the same thing, the same way, nothing different about it. It's just going to be the same. And even if you make it okay for a little while, the corruption and the conspiracy and the collusion to get all the power for us is never far away. And that's what men do. So we have to have different. Anyway, it's your turn now. So the reality of our lives is that there is no such thing as a free press anymore. That's dead. I met with a journalist class from the U of I, and they were mice. And if there was real journalism, you would know, the media would present you with the idea that nature being, genetic nature being injected with chaos was a bad idea. You would know that the consequence of trying to ignite atoms on Earth is that we can become a sun. Burning atoms is a real thing. So I've decided to, the problems with the website has been down for a week because people can do that. People can do that. It's not my intent, but people can do that. So we're going to give you the opportunity to use the website however you want. I would hope that you would, add whatever you do add in some kind of fashion with some kind of color or something that indicates it's your plan. But as it is with all religion type things, and religion just means you believe this or you believe that or this is true. So and people believe what they want to believe, so they add whatever it is they believe. They add whatever it is they want to believe. They add whatever it is that makes them happy or makes them sad or whatever it is. There's a lot of things about, it's just not that go there. But you can look here for a link to download the whole site, but it's fairly extensive. So, and you have to use it with a web page. You can't just use it on your computer. It's the wrong language, and so on. So, look here. That's all. It occurs to me that we should clarify some things. This last video, last attempt to make a difference in your life and in the world's life. You are, allowing universities to do terrible, terrible terrorist things, believing in them. And they are just your former classmates. They are not God, they ain't your savior, they're just sewage. And I say sewage because nothing but sewage would actually endanger an entire world. And igniting atoms on fire, a nuclear fire just like the sun, is exactly what that is, endangering an entire world. Ignition means the end of life on Earth. That's just how it is. And of course, they're trying to inject chaos into nature, and doing so. And they're doing everything they possibly can to kill life on Earth. So they deserve the title Satan. They deserve the title cult, because you can't question your leaders, you don't know how. They have removed that from you by propagating with media that they are gods. You can't possibly make a decision that the university doesn't allow. You can't. And your news media simply mimics that. Their idea of verifying the news is to ask the university, is this right? And of course the university says right or wrong, according to what they want. Trump exists. Pride is a terrible, terrible thing. But he exists because the masses are tired of university dominance and destruction. Over the last 50 years in particular, since Reagan gave away the currency to the university and they gave themselves $1 million raise, the end result of it is that, over the last 50 years, are you better off than you were? Obviously not. And of course, Trump exists because people want to go back to the way it was 50 years ago in this America. And of course, the population has doubled. They've thrown away all the money to themselves, universities have. And there's no possibility that you're going back 50 years in time. You're just not going to do it. It's impossible. You can't. Resources are been destroyed, habitats are destroyed, oceans are destroyed. You can't do it. The planet is being destroyed. Everything is being destroyed. And people look around and say, I'm doing okay. But you're not. If you look into the future just a teeny little bit, hell is at the door. And that means that there won't be enough food, there won't be enough water. And that's what apocalypse means, a war for water. Armageddon means nature and chaos. Hades means the earth is ignited into a fireball just like the sun and explodes. It will explode because of it's not a sphere, it's got problems. So we're looking at the end, I've done what I can. I put on, I've had a website for 20 years plus, and it's now it hasn't been on for a week, and domain names are responsible for that, and hosting companies are responsible for that, and the end result is that when I put the pen down and said I'm not teaching you anything more, the website disappeared. And so it's been about a week, and I still haven't got it back. And whether it's somewhat my fault for not being as literate as I might on that kind of thing, it's just not here. So we're going to do this differently. This is the last time. You're going to either make a decision for your own life, for your own benefit, for your own world, for your own child, for your own future. You're going to climb out of the debris that is the university decides everything and find a way to think for yourself. Or you're just going to let the earth and everything about it die. An entire creation of life lost. And I'm telling you that there are eternal consequences for that, because the body, although the body dies, the body dies only when life leaves it. People who look perfect have died, life is gone. People who have a body that just doesn't work anymore, still here. And that's because the life in them is still here. So it is life that leaves you, and it is life that is eternal, and there is no pride in life. Life is alive, but this is your life. This is your time on earth. This is what you do or you don't do, and so on. So, regardless of that, I'm not your savior, not your saint, not your guru, not your anything. Can't save a single one. And I don't want to. And I ain't your judge. But the end result is that I have done a lot of work for life on Earth. Spent the last 50 years with nothing else on my mind that this Earth cannot die without a fight, which is exactly what you're doing and allowing the universities to do, is kill it. Why, I don't know. You're stupid. You're animals. You want what you want, which is animal. You want what you want. And that, of course, means, as life deteriorates, there are just more and more animals who want what they want. And that's a tragedy. But I have mentioned that my life is turned upside down, and instead of yes or no to every answer to every question, there is no middle ground in eternity. There is no middle ground in eternity. You have to be yes or no. That's it. There is no other thing. But my life has been trampled on. Because I searched for 10 years for an answer among men to save this world, and I couldn't find one, or in me either. So I searched for the essence of women, because they're not talking about anything important. They're not. They're just not going to do it. They're not going to do it. So I searched for the spiritual side of female. Found it. And was locked in, basically. It's a complicated thing. Anyway, by joining together male and female, I found solutions for how to keep this world alive. Or we found solutions to how to keep this world alive. But unfortunately, I'm kind of in her world, trapped there, and so on. But the point being, there's nothing perverse about it. This is a spiritual thing. This is about how to join male and female together so that we can find a solution to keep this world alive. And it has nothing to do with the perversion or sex or any of the crap that goes through your mind as animals. Just try to dig yourself out of the damn abyss of what you want and rise to the point where you can think for yourself. Think about something besides being an animal. And all the greed and all the trash and all the possession and all the crap that you have to go through. Sorry for that crap. It's a person who invented the toilet. We owe him a lot. But anyway, the point being that female decides a lot of things for me. Whether I like it or not, it doesn't matter. So I have to live with that. Or I have to be changed with that. You have to change what you are in order to survive. And I apparently have to change who I am too. It's complicated. Don't get lost in it. But don't come, as men searching for anything here. There's nothing here for you, and if you try to take something that you don't have a right to take, your eternity is going to suffer big. So don't do it. It ain't no possibility that it will reward you. There's absolutely no possibility you can do that. So, but nonetheless, I have to live with the female side of things and see life from that point of view. And the end result of that is that it's a very, very different point of view. It's a very opposite point of view for men. And we have to, thousands of years of men in charge have produced thousands of years of men in charge, which always return to war. That's the answer of men, war. So we have to let female in the door, because you can't be different unless you are different. You have to be different to survive. You have to be different to survive. You can't continue to destroy life on Earth. You can't continue to destroy an entire planet, your 9 billion people, and what you do, nature can no longer correct. You are on your way to hell, and you don't even know it because you're too damn stupid. The university own your brain. Stupid. Stupid. They're stupid. And they're so stupid you don't even want to know. Because nobody but stupid would think that they can control the sun here on Earth. It's a 1,000,000-mile long plane, according to their opinion. And so how are you going to control a 1,000,000-mile long plane? And their answer is, well, there's not enough gravity, so it'll just put itself out. Our entire world, life on Earth, depends upon a 1,000,000-mile long nuclear flame that burns atoms going out on its own. Extinguishes on a planet made out of fuel. Made out of fuel. Atoms are fuel. So stupid isn't even it just doesn't do justice to the reality of stupid. It's called university. University should be remodeled into stupid. Anyway, you're on your own. I did what I could do for you. You have to make a decision that will support life, not kill it. You have to make a decision that is beyond what you want, because what you want is killing you. It's killing this earth, and you think you don't care. But I guarantee you for a fact that once you enter, eternity itself, whether you believe it or not, doesn't matter. Truth will decide whether it exists or not. Once you enter eternity, you're going to care what you did or didn't do. So accept a little advice and try to keep this world alive. I couldn't do it. It's up to God to make you understand that this ain't no game. I did what I could do. That's the end of it. Make a decision about what you're going to do, because eternity is a long, long, long time.